Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Satch. You normally find me standing here telling you about how great Porsche cars are, how much I love the 911, the Boxsters, the Cayenne, but in this video it's a slight change of direction because I'm going to tell you, or I'm going to show you, the 10 worst Porsche cars that have ever been made. Now this video is probably going to trigger a lot of people, and a lot of people will massively disagree with what I'm going to say, but what I do want to say is that it's not my personal list. This is the list according to hotcars.com. This is the list, these are the 10 cars that they think are the worst Porsches that have ever existed, and I do massively disagree with some of them, but I just want to put this out to you guys, see what you guys think of it. So if you think any of these cars should be on the list or really shouldn't be on the list, don't forget to put a comment in the box below. So before I tell you about the worst Porsches ever made, how would you like the chance of winning one of the best Porsches ever made? Click the link in the description or the pinned comments and you could win a new Porsche 911, a Cayenne, a Boxster, a Macan or a Taycan, etc. for the price of a cup of coffee. They have weekly giveaways plus cash in the boot and have given away over £38 million worth of cars already. You just never know your luck until you enter the competition. Guys, good luck, the competition is open. So we're counting down from 10 to 1, and actually I'm pretty horrified to show you the number 1 car, so stick around, you might be quite shocked. So number 10 on the list is the first generation Porsche Cayenne. If we look at the numbers alone, we'll never see the full picture. Although it was a solid seller, it did irreparable damage to the image of the brand. It became one of the biggest maintenance nightmares from any brand, let alone a premium brand, as well as being one of the biggest PR nightmares for a loyal fan base, deeply concerned that their brand sold out, which, let's face it, it had. But let's not forget that along with the Boxster 986, the company might not be what it is today. The original Cayenne sold like hotcakes, which meant financial security and a rosy looking future. Number 9 on the list is the Porsche 924. The original 924 was another budget Porsche, and as usual, that meant it was slow. Sales for the little 4-cylinder were pretty good, but it fell well short of anyone's expectations of what a Porsche should be. It didn't go like a Porsche, it didn't feel like a Porsche, it certainly didn't look like a Porsche, not to mention the subpar interior that didn't age very well at all. And I'm sorry to all you 924 lovers out there, but for me, it's just not that great. Number 8 is the Porsche 928, or the 928 as some people refer to it as. Before the Cayenne took the crown, the 928 had a reputation for being the most expensive Porsche to maintain. It was also a lot bigger than the current 911, specifically tailored to take on the GT cars being made by other luxury brands at the time, and as a result, it isn't exactly the prettiest car that Porsche ever made. So number 7 on the list is, well, actually I can't believe this car has even made it to the list. It's a Carrera GT. By no means a terrible car. In fact, you could say that it's a rather incredible hypercar. There are, however, a couple of big buts. What were they thinking when they priced it over $400,000? Nobody will ever know. It was also a little too much for most drivers to handle at higher speeds. For the handling alone, it might be remembered as one of the last true driving Porsches, but will most likely be remembered for the car that Paul Walker sadly lost his life in. For me, the Carrera GT is a great car, shouldn't be on this list at all. Number 6 is another car which I'm thoroughly disgusted at for being on this list. It's the Porsche Boxster 986. Although overall reliability was good, engine failure is as bad as it gets. And many early cars had problems with cylinder lines, bore scoring and IMS issues, which was resolved in the later years of the 986. It's still a stain on its reputation and resale values have remained low, even with the Porsche badge on the front. But the enjoyment that you get from these cars, the amount of cars that actually did suffer these issues was quite small. The internet blows it way out of proportion. Buy a 986, you will not regret it. Cheap, fun motoring. Guys, the more I'm working through this list, my heart's going even more. I'm getting more angry and angry every single time. But number 5 on the list is the Porsche 944. The turbo version is what most people will think of when the 944 is ever brought up, but that's not what everybody bought, although they should have and probably wanted to. The standard version is what most people could afford, and that was slower than most hot hatches of the time. I've personally driven a standard 944, and while you know it's not going to set your heart on fire, it's not going to get your heart racing as much as the 911s will, still a very enjoyable car, still a really fun car to drive. We're now down to number 4 on the list. It is the first generation Porsche Panamera. Another car where Porsche really sold out here, this time for growing the Chinese market that simply demands rear legroom. They also forgot to design the car completely. From almost any angle, it looks like an extended cab 911. For most though, the original Panamera will go down in history as the ugliest Porsche ever made. I'm not going to disagree with that. I personally don't really like the way the Panamera looks. It's just personal preference, but I understand that a lot of you guys do love the Panamera, which is totally cool. Have you ever heard of a Porsche 914? That is number 3 on the list. It was supposed to be a solution to a budget Porsche problem. Instead though, it created a new problem entirely. It wasn't its speed that was the problem, although it wasn't really fast to be honest with you. It just didn't look or feel anything like a Porsche, mainly because it was mostly a VW. They even marketed this car as a Volks Porsche, which did absolutely nothing for its prestige. We're now getting down to business. Number 2 on the list is the 912E or the 912E. When the 914 bombed rather spectacularly, this was an effort to revive the already long dead 912. Suffice to say though, it also bombed. It was slower, down on power, even fewer sales, and after this they took a radically new approach. Front-engined, rear-drive cars became their new budget 80s segment, and it was a huge sales success, if not product quality. Now we've come to number 1 on the list, and I just want to reiterate that this is not my personal list. This is the 10 worst Porsche cars according to hotcars.com, and they say the worst Porsche ever to be made is the Porsche 911 996 variant, and they quote that this is the car that even Porsche no longer wants to associate with the brand, which actually is a load of crap, because on many social media outlets I see them personally celebrating the 996 variant. They go on to say that although it was as quick as any Porsche that's gone before it, the build quality went down the toilet. Shocking interior quality, electrical gremlins, failing engines all contributed to this car being labelled as the worst Porsche car ever to be made. And I'm sorry, I just can't get on board with that. That's an absolute load of crap. The 996 is a fantastic little sports car. If you can look past the headlights, maybe the little bit of interior styling, then the 996 911 is a fantastic little car. And look, you'll pay half price for the 996 as you would opposed to most of the really good example 997s out there. But I would personally have a 996 on my driveway any day of the week. Doesn't matter what hot cars say at all. So I'm sorry for putting you through that, guys. Like I say, if you agree with any of this or if you strongly disagree with any of that, please feel free to put a comment in the box below. Let me know which car you think maybe should be on that list. If you've had a really bad experience with any of your cars, put a comment in the box below. Let us all know about it, and let the real owners of these cars speak and tell us what the worst Porsche cars have ever been produced. Now, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram if you wish, tpn.tv, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.